Welcome to the Art of Balancing It All podcast, a podcast where we get real about the struggles of trying to balance it all from love, family, self-care, career, and entrepreneurship.
Every 2 weeks, we'll talk to dope guests who will give you the goods on how to succeed in this thing called life.
We are your hosts. I'm Pam Thompson-Smith, better known as The Firm.
And I'm Titi Lyle Ellis, the ambassador of Buzz. Hey!
Yay! Hello, and welcome to the Art of Balancing It All. I am Pam Thompson-Smith, also known as The Firm.
And I am Titi Lyle Ellis, your Joy Builder coach.
Yes, and it's exciting to be back. It's been a minute, right, Titi?
It has been a minute.
It's taking a break. Taking a break, but we had to come back for this special edition. We are just a few days away from Father's Day, a great holiday. And so we wanted to come back and celebrate fathers. But we have another special reason why this show is really, really special to us. And so, Titi, I'm going to let you tell us why.
Well, what our audience may not know is that my dad, for the last 3 years, he had cancer, prostate cancer. And literally about 3 weeks ago, he lost his battle to cancer, lost him on May 21st. And I call him my first true love. And he was one dope dad. He was my king. He was there at every school function. He was the neighborhood's dad. He taught Little League. I always knew what time he was going to come around the corner when he worked at IBM. He was my consistent love. And so that's why I wanted for this episode, as we talked about what we would do, really get into what is the driving force behind dope dads, because dope dads don't get enough credit, right? It is a tough job. Right. And they're trying to raise us beautiful Black babies, our kids, and Black dads alone have a lot that they are facing. And I know my dad gave his all, and I know he had his own driving forces. And I think for every man, his story is different. And this episode is to honor my king angel, my dad, James Milton Blue.
Awesome. And in honor of him, I just want to take a moment of silence.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also to continue to let you know that we love you and that we are praying for you.
Thank you. I will say I am missing him dearly. Today was tough. And I know this weekend will probably be tougher. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, in honor of TT's dad, who was so very dope, we're doing a show with a bunch of dope dads. So we could only really highlight two to talk to tonight, but you're going to be seeing videos throughout this show of dads that are really dope. And they're going to talk to you about what is their driving force, what makes them be who they are and be so great for their kids, and also what makes them a little more dope than the other one, right? So I am super excited tonight because I have the special pleasure of being able to interview two of my great friends. And so I'm just excited to have them. One thing that I love to do is have dope friends. And so I try to get them on every chance I get. So tonight we have two really great dope dads, and I'm going to bring them on and let them tell you a little bit about themselves. But first, my first guest tonight is Mr. Wes Jones. He is a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. And if you follow him, and you're going to follow him after tonight, you would know that he is a super dope dad from the DC area. So let's welcome Wes Jones.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
I am doing well, and I'm so happy for the invitation. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we're excited to have you. Before we move to the next guest, we always ask our guests just simple question: how are you doing? Because there's a lot going on.
Oh my God! So this COVID thing has everyone spoiled. I know we need to take care of ourselves, but I can't get my staff back to work. Luckily, they answer the phones and they also attend Zoom calls. Now, they have admitted that they have on the bottom half pajamas and the top half a nice shirt. So I appreciate that. So we're just trying to figure this thing out. We're coming through COVID, thank God, and we just want to get back to a little more normalcy. So that's what I'm dealing with.
Awesome. So tell us a little more about yourself and what you do.
Oh my God. So I have been on the path of entrepreneurship since I've been 21 years old.
Wow.
I think I started at 12 when I cut everybody's grass in my neighborhood in Danville, Virginia. And it just stuck with me. And then on to Elon and then on to Johns Hopkins. And I've always had the idea that I wanted to help people. So I had the rare pleasure of mixing a business background with a social work background to make it a public health background. And for the last several years, I've been helping children, families in Washington, D.C., returning citizens. My hands are in public health, mental health, group homes for boys and girls, juvenile justice, return. I could just keep going on and on because everything snowballs, as you know. And one friend leads to another friend, and another friend leads to another friend.
There we go. And I'm so proud of you, friend. And I probably met you at about 18, 19 years old. Oh, I don't want to tell our age, but you know. It's been a long time. But awesome. So proud of you. All right. Dope Dad number 1. Well, Dope Dad number 2, bringing the energy in here. It is. I am so pleased and super excited to introduce you to Jason L. Scott the first. And he says his whole name because it matters. He says it all the time. So he is the millionaire mentor. He is a serial entrepreneur that has been working for himself probably the same amount of years. So let's welcome, there he is, Jason L. Scott the first.
Hello. Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me on tonight, ladies. It really means a lot to me.
Awesome. Well, Jason, tell us same thing. How are you doing?
I'm actually doing incredible. And I say that because you guys, you've been on me for a lot of years. You've been on me a little bit longer than your partner right there. But TT, right. She's been from the time you guys both been on me, I'm always one of positivity, one of hope. I have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But everybody always tell me, they say, man, every time we ask you how you doing, you always say incredible. I'm like, I have to speak it into existence and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but everything is fine right now.
Awesome. Well, tell our audience more about what you do.
Well, first of all, I've been an entrepreneur myself, like Wes says, for a lot of years. I'm 54 years old now. I have 9 kids. I have 7 grandkids. I'm a papa. So the work that I do is really about sustaining that. But since the very beginning, man, I've been like 14 years old, buying things on wholesale, selling to retail on the streets of New York, walking through the projects, paper, doing all the things that I got to do to hustle it up. You know what I'm saying? But since that time, I've started other entrepreneurial endeavors and businesses over the years, having worked for somebody for over 25 years. But the bottom line, I'm like a thought leader, providing like high performance coaching to increase activity and productivity in people. I get into their heads as a transformation expert, and I turn like their mindsets, their businesses, and their lives around.
And you are contagious. I can't say that.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to have both of you on. Jason, it's such a pleasure. We work closely in another business, and I even was your assistant from one time. So I've always admired that drive, but I really admire both of you and your drive for your family. So that's what we're excited to dive in on tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much.
So before we get started, I want you guys to tell us what influenced you to be a dope dad. And let me describe what dope dad means for us. For a dope dad, that means that you are present, you are attentive, and you're active in your child's life. So was it your childhood or was it a particular experience? Let us know. Jason, do you want to start?
Yeah, of course. Well, for me, growing up in the projects, I remember my parents got divorced like early. But even though my parents got divorced and my dad moved to Jersey, I was still growing up in the Bronx, and he would still come back and forth. He would still always be, an active dad. Being a young kid, I wanted to be in the projects and be in the hood more. But he always made sure that he was always able to call me, bring me over. But honestly, really watching my mother be the person that she has been. Watching her take care of my brothers, my sisters, also family members. We was like a group home. You know what I'm saying? Always have how you got the cousins and family members, people that know your mother's that mother. So anytime they got challenges, they want to come over. And I used to, you mad when you're a kid. That's like, this is my room. But my cousin used to push me out the room. But as I used to watch it, take care of everybody, wasn't mad, wasn't upset. And then I had friends coming over to take care of them. We was all on welfare, but always finding a way, man. So I tell people when they see me and what I do, I'm just repaying back what I see my mother do. All that I am, all that I ever hope to be, I owe it all to my mother.
Oh man, Jason, I feel you on that. My mother was a neighborhood mom, and I used to say that too. This is my mom.
Same here.
So Wes, please share with us what made you become such a dope dad.
Oh my God. So my mom had 5 brothers. Ooh. So I had about 6 fathers. And let me tell you, each one of my uncles were very special to me. One would drive around with a white car with a crushed velvet red interior with the dice in the rearview mirrors playing Earth, Wind, and Fire, all the music, all the classics, and just talking with him and talking to the other uncles and then the basketball coaches and then the community leaders. So growing up, I had not only my dad, who I love very dearly, but I had one father after another to help guide me to where I wanted to become a part of each one of them. I wanted to shed some of the light that each one of them shed on me growing up. And that was special to me. All men.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Look at that. Wow.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, we'll stay right there with you, Wes. And if you could tell us, what do you enjoy most about being a father?
Oh, my God. Where do I start? Let me just say this. The proudest moment was watching my daughter walk across the stage in New Orleans at Tulane University receiving her public health degree.
Yes.
That's victory.
That's victory.
A few years back, my son graduating from the University of Pennsylvania. Who knew? This guy was rough. You ever had a rough kid to raise? He was rough.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying going through the cycle of life with them. I don't think I could have chosen a better group of kids. Now, my baby, oh my God, the drama, the Generation Z, I do not understand.
Oh my God.
But it's not a race, it's a marathon. It's a give and take.
Yes.
And each day is something different. As long as they come home every night, as long as we have a conversation, we can say, I love you, as long as we can get a hug, as long as I can hear my daughter Ryan blasting music in my gym every morning while I'm trying to send out emails. And I'm like, what is she doing? I'm very happy with that. So being involved means being there, being a part of their journey. Yeah. Because my journey, as I look back, I'm losing so many of the people that I love, who groomed me and made me into the man that I am today. And I hope to do that for them and their friends and whoever else I can inspire.
That's awesome. Well, the good news is I watched the videos. They really enjoy you too. It's mutual.
You might as well have fun.
That's it. Speaking of fun, Jason, tell us what you enjoy the most.
Well, I'm like Wes, man. I just watching them in the process, because I'm a different dad now than I was, of course, when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't have no patience. When I was a kid, I would do calls and things like this, and they would walk in the room, and I'm like, get out the room, shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But as I've evolved in this process now, being a papa, it's a little bit different for me. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot more patience. So looking back over the years and seeing how my relationships have developed with my kids. Like I said, I have children, and they don't all have the same moms, but I be hands-on as much as I can. And the ones that stay with me on the regular, I watch them grow up. I watch them leave the house. I watch a couple leave the house. Watch a few come back in. So Wes, that may come up somewhere along the line. They'll say, I'm leaving. I'm gone. Okay. I keep the room clean in the back just in case. I've seen that coming and going, but having all those different things, man, it still just brings me joy to be able to be involved in it. Like anytime they need me, anytime they got a question, they still come to me. A lot of children, when they start getting into the world, they no longer look to the dad; they look to their friends for the next thing they should be doing. And don't get me wrong, we all can be influenced by everything else, but if you laid a great foundation as a dad or even a mom, laid a great foundation. When they come up with these challenges and situations, at that point they start to fall back on the teachings and the things that you've given them. You know what I'm saying? So for me, watching my children who have gone on to prosper, gone on to have their own children and be their own moms and dads right now, yeah, that's very enjoyable for me.
Oh, wow. Yes. So we've talked about what it is that you enjoy about being a father, but being a parent alone, mom or dad, is hard. So could you share with us one of your hardest moments of being a father, and why was it so hard? How did you deal with it?
Well, one of the hardest things because I have like 9 kids, and of course seven of girls and 2 of boys. I'm sorry, 7 of boys and 2 of girls. I watch all my children at different stages, but the hardest part, I guess, was like one of my youngest sons getting addicted to drugs. You know what I'm saying? That was like the hardest thing for me, having a chance, watching him go through the process of first, of course, hiding it, not wanting people to know, then getting to the point where he didn't care anymore, and of course it started off with them just listening to rap music and thinking it was cool because it was sip lean and take the pills and mollies and stuff, and of course when I asked him how did he start doing heroin, it was because one of his cousins who was on heroin, she was like, he walked in the bathroom, she was like, instead of turning around, she was like, come on in, and he came in and closed the door, and that was something. So that's been a challenge for like years, even though he's on the other side of it right now, and it's been that way for about a good 9, almost I guess 11 months now, as far as I know of. But watching him go up, watching him go back down, the times when I be out traveling and doing business, because I have a distribution business and I'm traveling at different times and doing events. And sometimes I get a call at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning from his mother telling me that he's at a crack house or he's over here or he's leaving. So that's been the most challenging for me. It's been really challenging because you want the best for everybody. You don't want to see them in that process. And you guys already know every day, even though I don't try to think to focus on it, but every day I'm concerned. I'm concerned of what's going on in the world, what's going on in the streets, and I'm concerned of what's happening with him as well. So it's a constant thing. That's why I'm always happy and grateful. That's why I'm always keeping myself in it, because I got to be able to be the person that brings energy and joy and love and possibility and hope for everybody. You got me and stuff the best that I can, the best of my abilities. If not, I'll crumble like a tin can. You know what I'm saying? I know I will.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable. We appreciate that. And we wish him continued success. I'm putting that out in the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Wes, do you mind sharing a hard time that you've gone through with your kids?
Where do I start? As you guys know, it just never stops. But the toughest time for me has to do with a 4-letter word, LOVE. I have never in my life seen anyone fall in love harder than my 2 daughters. I am so sick of hearing about boys. And recently, my eldest daughter fell in love and got her heart crushed. That was tough for me. I'm like, did I act like this? Did I do this to people? Is this karma? So love never stops. Starts early, it continues throughout life. Acceptance, love, all the fantasies, all the romanticism, and so forth. But that is very difficult. Jason, nothing compared to what your family has had to deal with. But love is comedic, it's serious, and it's like a pain in your butt.
Yes.
So that's really, I know this is almost laughable, but that's the toughest thing I've had to deal with. My daughter's falling in love.
Yeah. And if I can steal West, bruh, I get it. Bruh, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember even my daughter, the first time when let me tell you, TT, fam, I remember I came home, right? I was traveling and I came home and my daughter was like, she met me outside and she was like, she was going to Campbell University at the time. I remember she met me outside and the way she came out to the car, she's like, "Hey, Dad, what's going on?" And I'm like, "This, you pregnant, ain't you?" She's like, "This."
Oh, wow.
I promise you, I'm not going to drop out of school. I'm like, come here, girl. Come here. Now, don't give me. I said, I get it. And these are things that we don't want to hear, things you don't want to hear.
Right.
Again, you start doing, what did I do, Lord? Why, Lord? Why? You know what I'm saying? And so I do get it, brother. It's a constant battle to try to maintain your energy from that right there.
Oh my gosh, you knew just from the way that she said it. Wow.
Wow.
He got him like this. You pregnant, ain't you?
It's gotta be a tough one to tell your dad or your mom, but definitely your dad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are having so much fun with our dope dads, but we have a couple of dope dads that we want to highlight, and so now we're going to watch them.
My inspiration for being the dad that I am stems from not having an active, present father in my life. My dad was, strung out on drugs, in and out of prison. I had opportunities where we would visit him in prison. I'm so glad my mother gave us that opportunity to still have some portion of him in our lives when we were younger. But we didn't have him actively in our lives. We knew of him, we knew who he was, and that was great. But not having him active was very strenuous on our lives as young men. Mother had 4 boys. And so right out of high school, I wind up having a son of my own. And so my inspiration was that I didn't want him to feel or go through the things that I went through as a young person. And so when you really never had an active father, you really don't know exactly what you're missing. And so I didn't want him to have to go through that and seeing it in other people and wonder what it would be like. And so that was my motivation. I did have opportunities to sit with my dad, and as I became a man and being able to talk, and we were able to grow and develop a great relationship. And it just caused me to wonder how life may have been easier if he would have been this dad in my younger years. And so for me, my goal is to be active and a part of my children's lives. And so that's what I push to do. I'm not going to settle for anything less, and so I started it with my son, and it's just a trend. I believe that dads are so important in their children's lives, not just in young men's life or young boys' lives, but also in young ladies or young girls' lives. And so it is important to have an active man, father, involved in the lives of his children. So that's my inspiration. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I'm here, because I love my family. I love my kids. And I don't want them to ever feel like they are not loved, especially by their dad. And so if that makes me a dope dad, then I guess that's who I am. But I don't do this for any form or fashion. I do it because I love my children, and I want to see them grow up to be the best they can be.
So hello, my name's Cornelius Kirk, and I am so privileged to even be asked the question, what's my driving force behind being a great dad? And it's many layers to that, but the highest one is simply, it's the right thing to do. I'm personally a father of 4. I've had a son he's 28. I have a 24-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 20-year-old, 3 daughters. And I'm so thankful for being a father, because it actually shapes a man in a different way, especially if he accepts the responsibility. But there's layers to it. The thing about being a great dad is it's not just about your kids. It's about the relationships that they're in outside of you and them. And it really does impact them. It impacts their whole lives, especially when we talk about our daughters and our sons too. And so I know that a lot of their friends don't have a father figure in their lives. And I've also taken on that responsibility. And not only that, with mentoring all the things in the community. So the driving force behind being a great dad is simply that I think that it enriches our world on another level. And it's a calling that is not easy. It's the highest achievement that a man can have. And I'm pretty sure that all the dads that you ask will say the same thing, is that they love being called dad. So that is my driving force, and it continues to be a thing that is 24/7, 365. The title of being a dad is one that's earned every day, and I'm thankful to earn that title. Thank you.
Okay, I have another question. I am going to start with you, Wes. What are your thoughts on self-awareness and parenting, and how important is that?
Oh my goodness. So parenting is very stressful at times. You get the gamut with emotions. And the one thing that I try to do, and I advise other people, and I talk about it with friends and colleagues, is, self-care, taking care of yourself. Make sure you look as good as you can look. Be the best person you can be. Take yourself out to dinner. Pause. You don't always have to wash dishes or cook. Let the kids fend for themselves or bring them something back. But it's about taking care of yourself, being aware that you are a person too. And I tell
Mhm.
my kids all the time, we live in parallel. Okay. So as you're getting older, I'm getting older. I'm not going to wait until you become an adult and leave me to start living. I'm living now.
Good.
So as we move in parallel, let's have mutual respect. I'm the boss and you are the child,
Yes.
and I will respect you, you respect me, and we can move in, harmony. So just understanding that you have a life too. My life doesn't completely evolve around any of my children. I love them, I support them, I got their back, but I'm not going to jump in a fight for you. I'm not going to take a bullet for you. I'm not going to get stabbed for you. I'm not going to get into any male female drama for you. I'm going to protect you, but again, we move in parallel because I'm not dead. I'm
All
alive.
right.
Indeed.
I'm not dead, I'm alive. That's good. That's powerful. Before I move to Jason, I actually want to talk to you a little bit more, Wes, because I know that part of what you do is your business is in mental health. And that's so very important during these times. And so how do you feel? We talk a lot about therapy. How do you feel about fathers and therapy?
Oh my God. So, Jason, you guys, as you know, a lot of, and I speak from the African American perspective. I'm not prejudiced. I just like to empower us because, as we study history and we know our history and so forth, we know that if you're capable, lift your people up, just like any other ethnic group would do. But as far as mental health concerned, we're beginning to break that barrier that stereotypically this is not cool. I don't want anybody to know. It's starting to become a situation where people want to talk with someone. They want the help. It's not looked upon or frowned upon as something bad to seek help. Like I wake up sometimes, I don't want to get out of bed. And I don't know if I'm not feeling well. I don't know what it is. But that's something that can be addressed if I'm able to talk to someone. Because as a busy professional, like most of us are, or a busy parent or housemaker or whatever you do, life is rough. Life is tough. There's a million things coming at you at one time. And if you're able to unwind and just communicate with someone to get some stuff off your mind, it just makes you feel so much better.
Yes.
So, mental health, I love it. I'm seeing the industry in itself evolve into something that people are willing to engage in. And let me tell you, people in DC, they have no shame. If they want help, they're going to go find it. They're going to force it to happen. And they do, in this area in Washington, D.C., come in and get treated. get healthy, and move on in life. So.
Awesome. So Jason, I'm going to switch your question up just a little bit because you are one of the most self-aware people I know. So I know that's important to you, but you're also one of the busiest people I know. So tell me what you do for self-care as part of all of that.
Well, a part of that self-care goes back to what Wes was talking about when it comes to like even your own self-awareness it helps your own mental health and knowing when you need, not being afraid. That's like what T said a little while ago about me being vulnerable. I learned that trying to hold all that stuff in, trying to front, trying to act up from the project. I'm sitting here like Wes sitting right here, but my noble conversation, Wes, is yo son, word, you good, Wes? Yo son, word up, family. Yo hit me up, son. Yo hit me up, your mom. You good, TT? Word up, fam. So I come from all of that process, right? But for me, knowing that self-care is about personal empowerment, being the best version of yourself, being able to be the role model. All this other stuff is important for me. So I'm always self-aware. I'm always paying attention. My awareness is why when my daughter walked up to me, allowed me to say that. My awareness and my abilities to be able to be always remembering how it was to be that age and the challenges that they have going through, what I had to go through. So my self-care really comes from the fact that I'm always reading. I'm always studying. I'm looking towards. I'm a mentor to thousands of people around the world, tens of thousands. But also, every leader needs a feeder. So I'm not ever opposed to going towards another leader, another mentor for guidance and help me to find and find better purpose and another purpose and more purpose and all these other things and stuff. So it's really important that our people, Wes, you'll find. When after today, I know we'll follow each other, but you'll find through my videos and talks that I do, I'm about the same. I travel all around the world, coming from the projects with the high school diploma, but being able to go to France and Germany and Kazakhstan and Africa and Uzbekistan and Mongolia and travel to countries where I saw where they know their people from generations. I was like in Mongolia, they still talking like Genghis Khan, like he alive. Every time like, because Genghis Khan said, and Genghis Khan I'm like, yo, and they take pride in the fact that they go way back, and it made me start thinking like when you ask somebody who in America, what's your nationality? I'm Italian, my people from Italy. I'm Russian, my people from Russia. I'm German, people from Germany. What about you? I'm black, from New York. You're from, and that's where most of the people stop at. I'm from New York. I'm from DC. I'm from this. Yeah. So that self-care for me is knowing that my expansion of understanding those things and bringing it to other people to study more, to become a better version for myself, to become more is really important. It allows me also that when I'm doing the work that I do, it ain't really work. So it allows me to always feel good in any environment. So when I was doing a meeting a few days ago and it was asking me questions like, when do you get some time to chill? I'm like, you think this work? So you really think we working right now? We're going to conversate anyway. We're going to talk anyway. We're going to do things anyway. But I just like the elevated conversation about where we can go as a people. We can go as individuals, but also once you learn the skill, we must learn the skill, share that with our people, so we all can become better. For like you said, other nationalities do it, and that's what allows me to always make sure that I always focus on self-care. Don't get me West. Even today, I had to wait for my massage therapy today. Don't front. I get my manicures, I get my pedicures. Ain't no shame to the kid. Game.
Dude.
Oh man. Oh. Well, this past year has changed a lot of family dynamics. We spent more time with our family than a little bit. What are some of the takeaways from the pandemic that has helped shape how you are as a father and how you mold your family in the future from the pandemic?
And you talking to me, Jason else got first?
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, during the pandemic time, because I'm an entrepreneur, and one thing I learned about that is you got to learn to pivot. So when, even though a lot of my business has always been online, but I'll always be physical with people. That's why I would travel to so many countries and all across the country of the U.S. But when COVID hit, it caused me to have to pivot and go online and do more calls like this all day long, every day, and things like that. But it also put me in a position where my kids, the ones that was here, they was like, I was like serious about making sure nobody contaminated nobody. If you wasn't living here, don't be coming up, popping up, just because I had to, because we didn't know in the very beginning. So it taught me that I still had to have care, because even one of my children was like, "So Dad, it's like that. How you going?" I'm like, "Yo, bro, we gotta make sure that we're all protective of each other. We got. Then I had to take it back to talking about his past and talking about how what the work that I do for all of us, and I want to live long to make sure that I'm able to leave an inheritance, and because inheritance and all of a sudden, not just what you leave to them, is also what you leave in them. So I'm trying to get them to inherit the ingenuity, the way I think, the awareness, the flow, all this other stuff. But it's also just knowing and being self-aware that every person is connected. So watching my children become more connected. Watching my children have, because trust me, I never played or watched them play the game where they put the phones to the forehead. Now everybody, so many games came out the closet. Dust came off, Monopoly dust. I'm saying Scrabble dust. All trouble dust off the packages. All these things, and it put us in a place to where we become better for it. We become a lot stronger, better for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about you, Wes? What did you learn?
Oh my God. So we just became a stronger unit. The kids finally had a chance to settle down and say, look, I'm home. Let me get to know my dad. Let's talk. Let's watch a Netflix show together. Let's play card games. Let's play board games. Let's cook together. So it really gave me an opportunity to really get to know my children. And, my son was around. He's working. My youngest daughter's around all the time. My eldest daughter is in school, but she's Zooming us all the time. So it just really gave us the opportunity to bond and really form that unit that I've always desired. But your kids prior to COVID, they're all over the place. They're cheerleading, they're playing basketball, football, and no one really has a chance to really sit down and talk, except on Sundays, of course, for dinner. But even with that, it's just eating and no real conversing. But the pandemic also taught my family to really appreciate the time we have on Earth. We lost several family members during the pandemic. Some icons in our family, people we could go to and gain knowledge and support and love, and people we just really admired, we lost and we'll never get back. All we have is their memory and what they meant to us. So coming out of this pandemic, I just want my family to continue, from my children to my nephew, nieces, cousins, to all be as close as we were during the pandemic. So, and I'm sure your families too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was reading an article and they were talking about dads, and this sentence was like, I was like, okay, that's very profound. But one guy said, I only have one word for what the definition of a dad is. And he said, involved. That's all he said, involved. So I say that the definition of dad is involved. And you touched on it a little bit, Wes. So I'll start with you to tell me, what that statement means to you.
I have a very male-oriented family, extended family. Growing up, it was just basically guys. It was one female and a whole bunch of guys. I don't know how I could face them, myself, or others, if I created a child and I was not there to rear them, to raise them, to groom them, to prepare them, to support them. I don't know how I could look in the mirror if I wasn't there for my daughters, for my son, who's always asking questions. Always, should I wear this? Should I shave? Should I wear a long beard, a short beard? It means so much. And I don't know if all fathers know this. I'm sure most fathers know this, but children love us differently than they love their mothers. But what you should know about a dad, and just the dads I've spoken to, is that we're the risk takers. You can take risk with us. We're not so pensive. We're not so no, no, no. We're like, take the chance. I'll stand right here and watch and have your back just in case you fall.
Yes.
And I think kids recognize that. And so being involved for me, and I'll shut up, I'll keep going on and on,
Oh,
but
that's it.
being involved for me has been the marathon, because childhood plus parenting plus rearing, it's not overnight. It's a process that goes year after year after year. And before you look up, a person who weighs just 6 pounds and a few ounces is now weighing close to 200 pounds and standing over your head. But you shape this person to go into the world and hopefully be a productive citizen and can bring the next person up, because life doesn't stop. It's just a cycle. So being involved for me has meant being there and involved, making decisions, appropriate decisions, and making the ultimate sacrifices, which is time. So that's what it means to me.
Awesome. Jason, involved.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I can definitely parrot a lot of what Wes is talking about, because if in my mindset, if you're really, really a dad for real, because people say it, but for real, you have to be involved. I can't even, my mind even, I don't even fathom how some people don't want to be, how they want to be disconnected. It doesn't even resonate. It makes me feel kind of odd when I think that there are dads who really don't even want to be involved. They don't want to know nothing. They don't care about nothing. Whatever they have going on, they want them to figure it out on their own. And it just doesn't resonate. You know what I'm saying? I very rarely put myself in a state where I let myself feel like negative about certain things. But even when I say that right there, it just makes me feel negative about that, because I'm so involved with my children. I'm so involved with them. I've been involved with their lives. I mean, from each and every one of them as much as I could, the best that I could. You know what I'm saying? And I have great relationships with their mothers and stuff. And because of my involvement, because I'm always willing to, like I said, I was willing to get up if I know something's going at 3:00 in the morning, leave, get up and go do what I got to do. Because one is going through some challenges over here. If another was in a car accident over here, when I had that happen, several of my children in car accidents, and I get the call and stuff, and they don't know what to do, and they stranded. The car then got totaled over here, and I'm out the country, and it's just so many different things going on. But because of my involvement early in their rearing, they always knew that they can trust me. They also knew that, like Wes said, I'm the one that's gonna. I want to take more risk. I want to take more risk because I want you to be self-efficient. I want to make sure that you learn. I already understand that in life, I want to make them as good as they can, and want them to make them better. So when they do run across situations, they do run across challenges, they're able to overcome them. You know what I'm saying? With a lot more honor, a lot more respect, and a lot more certainty than just trying to figure it out on the fly. So for me, being involved. Yeah, thinking about, as a matter of fact, I think back like one of my daughters when she was a kid, right? I remember kind of like one of my daughter Kaasha, she was a kid, and she was about 3, and no, she was about 2, almost 3 years old. And my other son, Komel, he was born. And I remember she came downstairs because she had the baby upstairs and she was making this noise. She came downstairs and she was like, "Him, take this old baby," and he was crying, right? "Take this old baby." She was the flossy one. "Take this old baby," and she's like, and I took that black thing off his navel too. She like 2 years old, little.
Yes.
Take that on his navel too. You know what I'm saying? So even when I think about situations like that, it helped me to recognize personalities and how to deal with them, even when they were that way when they was a kid. So all the ways, even now when I can see the same like flossiness that pops out. We call it flossy because she can go from being so nice to just being take that old baby. You know what I'm saying? Because of my involvement with all my children and paying attention to their personalities, paying attention to how they used to be together then separate. Because I've always done the best I could do to shape awareness and shape situations and put them in situations where they were forced to have to deal with each other. They were forced to have to, because I didn't want them to be apart. I didn't want them to grow up like some brothers and sisters who don't want to know each other. They don't care about each other. So me being always self-aware, always paying attention, always seeing what's going on, even using my peripheral a lot of times, just seeing how they interact. I've always been one to shape and guide, you know what I'm saying, outcomes of situations, because everything's a teaching moment for me. Because I learned a long time ago, like when you look at our lives as a teacher, as opposed to the challenges, as opposed to the hardships, we're shifting some of those lessons and they become more empowering instead of self-limiting.
Yep. That is so true.
Absolutely.
Well, Pam, before we go to our next question, let's take a look at another video from our friends about what inspired them to be dope dads.
Hello, my name is Charles Chuck Barber, and I want to briefly give a testimony on my journey, the evolution from childhood without a father to being a father of four. Very tumultuous road. Father was very absent, knew my dad, but we had no relationship, nothing in common. Moving forward, going through Washington, D.C., throughout the 70s and the 80s to the 90s to 2000s without proper guidance was very tumultuous, I may add. Going through child molestation, spending 12 years in the penitentiary, through the drug epidemic, a lot of killing, just a lot of things that I believe Satan had traps for me because there was no covering. And so having gone through that, I wouldn't have known that I was going to be the one that had to father 3 males and 1 daughter. And going through making a lot of mistakes throughout my life. I mean, through having no one to really identify with, having friends that were like me, fatherless, and giving advice about things that a father should be given. But I thank God for the experiences, because now God has given me 3 males, 12, 13, and 35, and a daughter that's 34. Mind you, I had kids when I was a child. And so what happened was those experiences kind of taught me early on that I had to make some serious changes drastically. So now I'm involved in my children's life. I have 3 grandchildren. I'm a graduate of college. Who would have ever thought that a person like myself, coming from a drug-infested environment, having gone through all of the trauma that I went through, not even having a childhood, that was stolen from me. And to now having been given the role of a provider, a priest, and a protector, and having a wife, I wouldn't have never thought that I would have been none of the above, father nor husband. But God granted me this opportunity because he knew that I would be fit for the role. And so I don't miss a beat when it comes to my kids. They're involved with sports, plays, all the things that I wanted when I was a young man, and wanted my father to be there when I had to play rec ball, and my coaches had to pull out money out their pocket because we were poor. And being a kid coming up without a father to affirm him and to tell him he's good, he's loved, he's wanted, I had to go through that psychological degradation for a long time, not believing in myself and having a whole lot of doubt. Why am I here? And if you didn't want a child, why did you have it? These are my questions internally. And sometimes I will bombard my mom with why my dad don't want to be bothered with me, or why can't I go live with my dad, not knowing that he didn't want kids. And so today, I love on my sons. I affirm them. I let them know on a daily basis, man, that you're cared for, that you're wanted, you're desired. And my daughter, not knowing that I hadn't had anyone to teach me. So I had to learn fathership on the fly, reading books, going to seminars, praying, and rubbing elbows today with other father figures. I'm more of a leader in regards to having been gone through those years of being without a father. how do I maintain fathership roles? So I'm grateful that God gave me the opportunity, because now I know how to be loved, or I know how to love, because those things that I wanted, I know to share with my sons. So this is a great opportunity for me to give back to society, to put back into society the things that I believe that a man should do when he's been redeemed and God has given him a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, 1,000 chance to get it right. But today I can honestly say that I'm in love with the role of a father, and I am active, I am involved, and I'm more so a stand-up figure in my children's life. They affirm me as letting me know that, Dad, you are loved. So hopefully this little 3-minute or so testimony will give grounds to thank God for redemption, thank God for restoration, because truly I've come from the depths back to life because of God giving me another chance. Thank you. Peace.
Okay, my next question, I love quotes. I always love quotes, right? So one of my favorite quotes is, you can only learn by learning. So I'll say that again for you dope dads. You can only learn by learning. And so as we heard, your kids are adults, but do you ever stop learning?
No.
And if so, the other question I want to say is, extend yourself some grace, but how would you grade yourself?
Yeah. Well. The learning is ever going. It's ongoing, because again, I'm older. I'm different. Every new situation you have to become different. You can't just say I am how I am. It is the way it is. So every moment, every situation is different. That means now that I got my child who's this age, and their son is this age, and they're this age, and their daughter's this age. That's a growing process for them. So for me, in order to be able to deal with any challenges or situations, I have to grow as well. I love growing. That's why I got books behind me. I'm always reading, always studying. This thing just for show. I'm always in that process of self-learning, self-discovery, wanting to be more, because I'm always trying to think about how to become the better version of myself, so I can be able to just teach my children. And I love the fact that even to this day, they tell me all the time, they honor how I work. They honor that I'm always doing something. They don't just be quiet. They're always texting or calling me saying, yo, you have no idea, man. You really, and it makes me feel good, because I know the work that I've done, the hours, the times that I used to be gone when they were kids, and I missed opportunities to do the things I want to do that I do now for my grandkids, putting them through private school and stuff. I used to work hard as a young kid myself, trying to do things so I could put them in school and take care of them, but I've always was spending everything that I made. So by the time I got to the point now to where I can actually do more for them, you know what I'm saying, I have to continue to learn, because they are on the stage of learning now. My grandkids are on the stage of learning. Their parents are on the stage of learning. Their kids learning differently than the way they learn. You got me? So all these different things. And I'm the drop-off pop. You know what I'm saying? I had to put a cone outside. I said, you see that cone in front of the door? Do not open the door. I want to hear the alarm. I want to hear no grandkids running in the door. Hey, Papa, running up the stairs. I said, I got work to do right now. Papa's working.
So how would you grade yourself?
Well, I know you said give yourself some grace, but I have to. Well, I would say I give myself like a strong 8. And I say 8 because there's been times when I try to do my best and I know that I messed it up. Mm-hmm. I know I messed it up or something. I'm saying, but my mess up, I normally did my best to correct them as fast as I could when I recognized that I messed up. I never let my ego get so much. And I remember there's been times when I would let my ego be in the way, but even messing up and stuff, like in recent years, I remember my son, I always have a lot of stories, right? My son, he had been, he's like one of my older sons, but he was, quitting job, starting job. I'm gonna go to school now. All this stuff, trying to find himself. West School. Yeah, everybody else they went on, and all his other youngers and brothers and sisters started doing other stuff. And I remember he came in. He was like, "Yeah, I left the job again." And I'm like, and normally I'm kind of calm. I'm like, I jumped. I'm like, "Why would you do that?" So, yo, bro, you got to stick to the plan. I got a plan and things I'm saying, and I lost myself for the moment. And this like maybe a couple of years ago, and I remember I can see that it hurt him. He was a grown man. I see that hurt his feelings. He went back to the car with his girl. They drove off, and it made me cry because I'm like, damn, I had to be real. I said, but was I too real? Was I too much? I said, should I just calm myself? And it makes me almost want to tear up now because I remember how hurt he looked at the time. But even that moment has made us even stronger. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to call him to the side and apologize and stuff, but I had to let him know the parts what was real. But I didn't mean to come off that aggressively. I'm saying to challenge him as a man, to challenge his manhood or whatever and stuff. So yeah. Where I am in my life right now, I feel great about the lessons, and I feel great about my self-discovery and my mess ups and my fixes on my mess ups. And I have to give it the 8 because it's kind of some things that I still know that I'm still working on to fix it to this day. You know what I'm saying stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Wes, learn by learning to be a dope dad.
Oh my goodness. So I remember a profound moment in raising my son when he said to me, Dad, I don't want to play football. I don't want to play basketball. I want to just build racetracks. I want to build things. And at that moment, I realized I had to listen. And from that moment, I became a better listener. Not being so emotional, not just jumping off at the handle, but listening. So that's one of the skills I have learned through parenting that has evolved and made me a more patient person. I think you mentioned that earlier, Jason. Just being patient and cool. And now I'm to the point where my kids are like, you're always so laid back when something pops off. I'm like, well, if it's going to pop off, it's going to pop off. Let's just get a strategy to get beyond it.
Yeah.
And I would certainly grade myself a B. So there's a reason for that. I personally feel like A students focus too hard. Perfection is just, it's beyond my reach. I just won't give the effort for that type of grade. But what I will give you is a dynamic B, which means my hands are in multiple pots. I'm going to listen. I don't know everything, but I certainly can learn with you. And I retain things well. So, you're going to get patience, a good listener, and a person that's going to be accepting, but also take risks. And then I'm not ashamed to make mistakes. I make them all the time. I've made so many mistakes in business to the point where I've evolved and become a stronger business person. I've made so many mistakes with my children that I've become a better parent. But without the D's and sometimes F's, when I'm not prepared, it's made me into a solid B, a dynamic B father. And I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that.
Awesome.
Wow. Okay. Well, moms often get the credit for creating dope kids. When you see them at the Super Bowl, Mama, I made it. But dads play a key part in creating great kids. And what dope qualities that you have do you see in your kids? For instance, my dad was a computer engineer. He loved to break things apart and figure out how to do them. And I am the same way. Pam knows if it's a technology, I'm like, give me a minute.
Exactly.
I have that same thing. So what is something that you see in your kids that you go, oh my gosh, that is definitely me? Wes?
Oh my goodness. So you see so much of yourself in each one of your kids differently. I've got a daughter who played basketball. I played a little basketball.
Just a little bit.
Oh, she loves fashion. Oh, her dad loves fashion. Oh, my son is extremely good with poker, blackjack. Oh, his dad loves poker, blackjack, tongue. You name it, I'm playing it. He'll stay up all night doing that. And then my youngest daughter, she's an omnivert. So an omnivert, as you guys may know, can be the extrovert or the introvert.
Yes.
Oh, that's so me. She's born a day before me in February. We're both Aquariuses. And if we are not the same person, I don't know who else on earth is. So the qualities I see in my children is so eclectic, but it all points back to me. So that's what I see.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Indeed, indeed.
Jason.
Well, for me, it's really adaptability. I see because they've watched me for so long. Because again, being an entrepreneur, I had to adapt. Just being a dad with too many, I had to adapt. So teaching them that's what I said. Learning to teach them to be self-aware was really for them to be able to adapt faster, to be able to get through situations faster, so that they don't. Because most of the time, because I've discovered over the years that we don't get depressed, we do depressed. And people start doing depressed because they start feeling like they're a failure, feel like something's not wrong. They start thinking, then the shoulders get low, and then they puffing and stuff, and they feel they don't got the answers to stuff, and they just give up. They stop even trying. So me being able to adapt fast, and even in the whatever showed up, whatever came up, like I said, even my daughter was like, "Dad," I'm like, "Okay, this is the plan. This is what we got going on." So showing them that I can't say, "Don't talk to me. I haven't paid all this money for college. Come behind me. This is what it is." No, I couldn't do that. I had to be like, okay, this is because I had to adapt to the moment. I had to be present at the moment, and I learned to be present quickly. I learned that when you're dealing with your children, you have to be present. You got to be present quickly because it's important that they know that you really are there, that you really trying to understand them, that they're really trying to help them. So I've learned that in my process of being present, it helps me to adapt to situations quicker, and then I teach them. After the situation, I'm always going back and saying, okay, what happened? What do you recognize that happened? What did you recognize? What did that person say? And I'm always making sure they're self-aware of the human dynamics of communication, the physical changes in the person in their physiology. Listen, Wes, I talk about all these things because I want them to be so self-aware. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that when they make decisions, they're not, because don't get me wrong, we all can be influenced. Everything is influenced, right? Leadership is influenced, everything is influenced. We all be influenced by anything else. But I still make sure that even though they know they can be influenced, even paying attention to when you are being influenced and how you're being influenced, and when you choose to let yourself go, and how fast you have to be self-aware so that you don't always find yourself on the short end of the stick. So that was really, I watch all my children, no matter what they got, no matter who they are, the ones who are more quiet, the ones who are more loud, the ones who talk slow, the ones who talk fast, the ones who are so feely. I got them all. I got them all in my own personal children. I got them all, and I learned to deal with them all and talk with them all based on what they are and the energy and how they feel, and all this other stuff, man. So that's what I can see that in all of them, their ability to adapt to situations and challenges and get through situations faster than most people who just suck. Because I've been depressed in my life. I know it's like when my mother passed away from cancer some years ago. I was depressed for like 2 years. So I know what it's like to be depressed. It was a mental health challenge for real, Wes. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to come out of it. I didn't even know I was depressed. I didn't know why I was sleeping all day, every day, and get up and send my kids to school. Like, so you got to lay there and get on the couch and lay down and be like, and then it was just the craziest thing. You know what I'm saying? So because I know what can happen when you go down the rabbit hole, yeah, I'm always teaching strategies, always teaching awareness, always teaching that life is strategy. And learning to adapt and finding new ways to have new strategies faster, quicker. You know what I'm saying? On your feet is what I've watched a lot of my children have, and what they do, and how they're working in their life, their businesses, and with their being a parent themselves.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been amazing.
Yes,
Such a great conversation. But before we go to our final question, we're going to also go back to some videos of our friends, more dope dads.
This is Estab Bernard Mitchell, aka Mr. BU, and I just want to speak on what makes me a super dad. Well, I'll say it like this here. I went through a life transition, which caused me to have some distance between my son, which was not voluntary. And looking back over my own history, my life history in regards to parenting And when I was a foster child, warded estate, I wanted to be rescued by my own father. And sitting in the courtroom waiting day after day after day, and I didn't get it. It didn't show. So what did happen in its stead was, and I did get adopted by great people. Now, fast forward to today. My son experienced his parents going through divorce. And in that divorce, there were some variables that were trying to take away my time and the bond that I have with my son. I did not want to repeat what happened in my own life. So what I did was I fought. I felt like in my own life, I didn't get the fight from no one. He didn't fight for me. But in my son's life, I fought for him in regards to having the time, the type of custody, and everything that was needed in regards to that we would continue our life as father and son the best we could in this life change. Now, in that, my son did go through some changes, and it was very challenging for him. And I let my son know it's okay to be angry. It's okay to have your moments of experiencing different emotions. Because when I was younger and I went through the life change, no one was really there to let me know or inform me that these feelings that I were feeling, frustration, certain times separation anxiety, and all these things were, it was okay to feel these things, but how do I channel it? Now, fast forward in my son's life, I was able to do that for him. I was able to be there for him. The times where it was toughest for him, I was able to be there as his father to be able to provide comfort and validation of his emotions. That yes, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry at me. It's okay to be angry at his mom. It's okay to feel how you feel and continue to love him through his transition. That right there, it established an even greater bond between my son and I. And to this day, I say, I'm my son's. I'm there for him and I love him. And that's what makes me a super dad.
Hello, my name is Grady Bussey, and the reason why I like to being a father is because as a father, I believe that our job is to make sure our children go further in life than we do. I also believe that our job is to teach manhood to our children. Manhood is a state of maturity and discipline one reaches in order to accept the responsibilities and consequences of life. And as a father, that's our job, to make sure that we show by example what it looks like to be a man, to be responsible, and be that leader that we all desire in our homes. Thank you.
All right. This has been so amazing. Thank you guys for being on our show. However, now you can't be on the art of balancing it all without us asking you one final question. What is that? I'm glad you asked. So tell me. The art of balancing it all. Can you really balance it all? I know you do a whole lot. What do you think? Can you even the scales or not?
Who you want to answer? Want me to answer that? Want Wes to answer that? Because I see Wes over there. Wes is like, hey, Wes. Let's shake our head in unison for a second there.
No, you can't.
Oh my God. I mean, it's a great question. And the answer is yes and no. At the same time.
Expound.
Well, as you get older and more experienced and more seasoned in your industry or whatever genre you're in, everyone starts reaching out to you. And I'm sure you guys, all of you guys, your phone ring all day long. Yeah. People calling just to ask questions, to gain permission or advice. So you're always busy. And for me, I always feel guilty if I don't stop for that one moment to answer a question, how mundane or ridiculous the question may be. if I don't answer this one question of a person who called me, I feel a little bad about that. But that happens all day, and it's a challenge to balance it. You have to turn your phone off or ignore it. But when you do answer that phone and it's that young voice, hey, Dad, what do you think about this? If I say to this person, hey, I don't have time, please don't call me with this, you don't know what that does to the person. So with me, I try to take a moment to listen and find out what it is they're trying to convey, what they need, if I can help. But on the flip side, that phone goes off at 3 o'clock. And if my voicemail is full, you can't get me. But as soon as it comes back on and I see it ring, I will answer it. So to balance the scale, it's all relative. It's all subjective, a little objective. But at the end of the day, it's a give and take. And it is truly a balancing act, because you have to take care of yourself first and foremost before you can take care of anyone else.
That's right. That's right.
But don't deny yourself of anyone, but especially your children. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's good. Sounds like you're saying too, you have to be intentional about it. Jason.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, I find it's we all can say yes or no, but I find the reason why I say the art of it is just yes you can balance it all, but this way I see how you balance it. See, when you know that you're never going to be in control, you're in control. You got me? The way I balance it all is knowing that I'm not going to be in control of everything. Yeah. So it helps me to lessen my levels of anxiety, because most of the times because we feel that we lack in different areas, and then we start getting anxious in our own thoughts and stuff. Matter of fact, like when I'm working with clients and people, I'm talking about like the life wheel and stuff. Wheel of life, like talking about health and which do you feel you may need some help in, whether it comes to health or family and friends or romance or personal health or spirituality or contribution or fun and recreation or physical environment or business and career or finances or health. All these different things are different pieces of the wheel. And when people feel like certain things are not in balance, they feel like the wheel is wobbling. So I've learned that most of the stuff we have an anxiety. We have an anxiety attack. We start to overthink. We start to feel as though we're missing something or we're not doing something. So learning my control, my art of balancing it all is really knowing that I'm never going to be in control fully. So that gives me control over self. Self-mastery is really important in that part. And it's always something that can challenge that. But me just knowing that whatever situation or challenge comes up, let me deal with that at the moment. No, and then once I do what I can do for that, let that be that while I go to something else. Trying to do that and be over here and still thinking about that causes anxiety, causes you to feel like you're out of control. Start to worry. Worry causes fear, and fear becomes crippling. All these other things. So for me, Pam, that's really what it is. Just me knowing that my control is knowing that I'm never going to fully be in control, and that gives me control.
Awesome. I like that. That's good. Good stuff. That's your word.
Good stuff, as we always say. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Well, before we leave, please let our audience know how they can get in touch with both of you guys, because we need them to be able to connect. So where should they connect with you all?
Okay, my home address is they can find me at Jason L. Scott, 1ST, Jason L. Scott First, whether that's jasonlscottfirst.com, Jason L. Scott First on LinkedIn, Jason L. Scott #1ST on IG or Twitter, but also on Facebook. I do have a Jason L. Scott First, but finding me on Jason L. Scott on Facebook. Right? So those are the best ways to reach out to me, connect to me. And let's work, let's connect, let's do a deeper connection. I want all people to have like Wes was talking about for this, when it comes to our mental health, to learn to just be willing to skill share, be willing to just come out here and just network and connect and see how we can be of service to each other. That's really what I believe we need. There's so much going on right here after COVID. People are acting crazy out there in the world. I see it all the time. I have to block things that want to pop up on my phone because I don't want to see so much of the stuff that's been happening because people have not been, they've gotten to this state. So for me, yeah. I'm really in that space right now, guys, where I really want us to work more together as a people, come together more as a people, do more, make it a conscious effort to be able to uplift. And I don't know if it's just because I'm 54 and I'm thinking that way, but I should have been thinking this way when I was younger. And I'm saying, and those are some of the things that I wish that I had thought of and I was engaged in when I was younger. I'm saying even more. So now that's what I'm about. I'm about making sure that we all don't just get IG names and IG addresses and don't follow, don't connect, don't see how we can be of service. No. We have not, and we ask not. Let's work together and see how we can work together to make everything better for our people.
Okay.
Got it.
And Wes?
Oh, I just want to say thank you guys for inviting me. I had a lot of fun with you guys tonight and just learning from you, Jason, Joy, Builder Coach, Pam. Guys are so dope. I actually put my information in the chat.
Okay.
And please share it at your leisure. I'm in Washington, D.C. Umbrella Cares is my agency. We're also on IG, Facebook, West Jones 06 on Instagram. Please reach out. I would love to talk to everybody. I love people. I have never met a stranger and hope I never do. And this was a great show. Thank you so much. I'm going to force my children to watch this.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Well, we thank you so much for joining us for our special fatherhood edition, our Father's Day edition. We will be sharing all of the information that the guys shared here on our website at theartofbalancingitall.com. And you can also join our tribe there and make sure you connect to us with the show. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. And so make sure you also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram and Twitter at The Art of Balancing It All. So we're excited. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll be back with brand new episodes real soon. See you then.
See you guys soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.
and that involves me.